So what does a military program around polygraphs have to do with meditation, breath work, and inner stillness? So let's talk about that for a bit today. Most people don't expect that's where lessons come from, but sometimes they do, right? My name is Steve, and I am a retired military interrogator. I am a retired corporate exec. I've traveled the world. I have a master's in education. I've studied cultures and languages and all kinds of coolness around the world. Been fortunate in my life to touch plutonium, uranium, and been in some bizarre scenarios that the average guy can't replicate. And what I really enjoy doing in life is data mining all of those bizarre experiences and bringing back the life lessons to not only for myself in a healthy way, but to also teach other people that you don't have to do something crazy in order to learn a lesson. So today, what I'm going to talk about is how polygraphs taught me about inner stillness. So as part of the military world, I found myself in the interrogation space, and through which a small group of us ended up at the Department of Defense Polygraph Institute, sitting in chairs in rooms with random people, wires all over us, sitting on little pads, learning about the body and what the body does when it's stressed. Specifically my own body, because I got to be my own guinea pig. And this was an awesome experience where I learned that breath work, breathing is measurable. And honestly, you put the chest thing around people's chests, they can read that. You have your heart rate, that's measurable. Your sweat reaction is measurable. That pucker factor that you have whenever you're in traffic and things don't go as well as you think they should. You're not paying attention. You're doing something, and the car comes out of nowhere, and you're like, ah, and then you're recounting that story to someone else, and you're trying to put yourself in the right because you know that I was always paying attention. I was never distracted driving, and so you're justifying. And whenever that happens, the body does certain things, and by learning that they're measurable externally, you actually can learn that they're monitorable internally. And this is the lesson that I would love for people to take with them, is that it teaches you how to be a thermostat in your own life versus a thermometer. Thermometers hang on the wall, and it can be, as it was in Florida a couple of weeks ago, it can be like 6 degrees outside or something crazy, and the thermometer goes all the way down to 6 degrees. And then 2 weeks later it can be 95 degrees and you're on the beach and the thermometer's up here, and then suddenly there's a cool snap, and then you're trying to plan your day and you're looking at the thermometer and you're like, what the hell is happening outside? It's 85, 72, 65, 85. How do I dress for this? Because the thermometer's all over the place. But whenever I go inside my house, I have a thermostat, and it's set at like 73, and it stays pretty much 73. So sometimes the heater comes on, sometimes the AC comes on, but sometimes the fan's circulating, but it's always about 73 degrees. And every now and again, I'll go to someone else's house or someone else's office space, and they'll have it set, their personal thermostat is not where I feel comfortable, and either I bring more clothing or less clothing, or I stop going there, one of the two, right? Because I don't agree with the thermostat that they've set in their own life, in their own space. I do that with my own life in my internal thermostat, and that's what we're going to show you today, is how to convert yourself from being a thermometer of walking into a room and jacking up high or low based on what that temperature is, or being a thermostat and setting that space so that everywhere you go is 73 degrees. You can always remain cool as a cucumber. Doesn't matter if you're on the beach at 95 degrees, the heat doesn't bother me. My internal thermostat tells me if I'm okay. So let's talk about that. All right, so first off is we're gonna do a little muscle isolation. All right. So the first thing is we have a muscle right here. Let me take this necklace off so that it's right on the throat piece that I want to talk about. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is this guy right here. So I want you to, this is what I do with clients all the time. So first thing we're going to do is, so you find that muscle that goes, What's funny is this is a letter in other languages. We don't have it in English. So it's much easier to find in someone who speaks Arabic, for instance. They know exactly this muscle because it's a letter. It's the stop, the glottal stop. Okay, so find that muscle. Okay, now that you found it, what I'd like you to do is disregard it. Don't use it again throughout the rest of this practice. Most people that I work with, that is the muscle that they use to hold their breath in. They breathe in, and you can feel that muscle go. It is silent, but it'll lock into place. It closes the windpipe off, and then they go. So if you breathe in and you have that, we're going to work on, that's the piece that we were going to isolate. So breathing in and out, exhale. Breathe in. And if you've never been breathing this way, it'll feel weird. The idea is that something could literally fly down your throat, down your mouth, out through your nose, and there's nothing ever closing off the capacity in your lung from the external. So we'll do a couple breaths. And I have my shirt off so that I'm going to talk about isolating pieces. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to lay down. It's easier to do laying down at first for most people. Turn this down. All right. So put my hand here and put my hand here. Breathing in, not closing my throat. Exhaling, never closing my throat. Now for this, what we're going to be doing is separating. Most people breathe, that come to me first time, breathe primarily with their ribs. So when they breathe in, ribs get big. Exhale, ribs get small. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of work that's happening, and nothing is really happening, honestly. It makes you feel like you're doing something, but it's really just using muscles for no reason. Your primary muscle of respiration is your diaphragm. It's not your costal muscles. So people who have back pain, costal chondritis, and all this other stuff that goes on, it's because they're breathing with these guys. So if you have pain here and in your upper back, I promise you're breathing wrong. You're breathing with the wrong muscles. So what we're gonna do, breathe in, open your ribs up huge, big ribs all the way up, leaving your muscles, your throat open, arms out. Feel them big, hold them as long as you can. Now what we're gonna do is put our hand here on our diaphragm and relax. You're gonna hold these muscles big, and we're gonna isolate and differentiate these muscles for breathing with this muscle, which is actually begging you to let it breathe. So you breathe in, and I'll put my hand here. This will collapse. It won't be a big breath. Be fairly shallow, and that's okay. This is step one, recognizing there's a difference. And what I do is I take this after a while, and I can actually open my ribs up. If you have one of those divots into here, this is all cartilage. The minute we start working this, you're going to be on a pathway to this popping out. And I promise you, you give this a couple of weeks of work, you'll end up with a flat chest across here. Whatever's divoting in, it'll eventually it'll open up. So if you are the kind of person who, whenever you take your hand and you go across your chest, you get to your sternum, there's a dip in, like a fold. Doesn't matter what the cause is. If you have that wave right here, we're going to be opening this up slowly, with grace and with compassion. Holding that out, arms out, breathing in, leaving this throat open. If you do this for 5 minutes, you're going to start feeling tight muscles across here. You're primarily breathing with this lower ab that goes right into your pubic area, underneath my navel's right here. So I'm breathing with this every time I breathe. I'm breathing with this muscle as my diaphragm, but I'm flexing with this guy. out. Now, how do you know this is working? How do you know it's working? What I'd like you to do is, now that we've isolated these muscles, we're going to do some sitting and standing pieces. Hold your chest out. Remember, you can hear that. Let that go. Let it relax. You'll notice your voice is softening. If you're a person who has been accused of blasting other people, or you've been around people who blast other people whenever they talk, you're waiting on bated breath, you're waiting on that. When people says they're waiting on, like they're waiting for their moment to join into a conversation, usually they're poised. Their body is tense, and the minute they get a conversation moment, they jump in with they blast them with all this energy. Take a moment. Soften your throat. Open your chest. And practice talking like this right here. What you'll notice is that it's going to be a complete opposite from how you've ever spoken. Your voice will be softer. Your voice will be more controlled. Your voice will actually be responding to what's going on in your soul versus the external pressure that is on your chest. It is a completely different style of talking. You sound like you are absolutely in control of your life whenever you talk from a space of non-forced air explosion. And here's an example. Whenever this muscle is the only one holding your breath in, it's not only holding your breath in, but it's also holding your posture. It's holding you back. It's holding you up, right? And so when you go to express, you are giving in that moment from your energetic core. If someone is talking and they are, if you notice they run out of breath, just let them go for just a minute and they will collapse onto themselves. You can see them, they'll be like, I need to get the words out because the words are, and we're going to talk about, and it's because they are literally, they don't even realize it. They are expressing how dysregulated and how much their breath controls them through every word that they say. So pause, open your throat, and whenever you go to speak in this moment, this muscle, which has been so overworked, whenever it engages, it only engages briefly to stop and to make the words that we're saying. So it's muscular control of your manifestation. It's thoughtfulness. It's saying, I am relaxed and I'm springing into action to say the words that need spoken. It's not tired. It's not always in action, and it's not always there. Breathe in. And just enjoy that difference. I would like you to not tell anyone what you're doing. Don't go to anyone and say, I'm going to try a new breathwork technique. Literally sit down with someone and notice that when you talk, you don't exhale. How many people around you, whenever you say, so how's your day? They go, it's good. It's because they took an exhale. For the moment, you're finding them relaxed, and that's fine. That's fine. That means that they are exhaling, but you'll see them go. Once you learn this method, you stop doing that. You stop sighing all the time. It's like I'm looking for relief and I can't find it. You sit in that space. And it's a whole different ballpark. The next step is going to be once you realize these muscles and these muscles aren't the same, you can start mentally mapping, where do these muscles go? And what you find is that there's a beautiful tapestry of tiny little muscles that go all the way through our inner chest. They start down in here and they go up, up, up. And then you have this, and I encourage you, look this up. Don't trust some guy on the internet. Go look this stuff up. It's amazing. This is why I use the term psychonaut, is because there's so much about the in-body and the mind and the connection and the spirit and the soul that we just don't access on a normal basis. So when you start mentally mapping these muscles, you'll realize they go all the way up the inside of my chest. They go up into here. And so you can set lungs large, and you can actually actuate and activate these muscles inside of your deep chest, behind your ribs, and you can breathe and squeeze your lungs in a way that doesn't require these guys to move at all. And that costal chondritis, the tightness that goes across here, all that goes away because you're developing these muscles. They're not breathing muscles. You're not cramping them all freaking day long. Imagine if you did this with your hands all day long. They would just get so tired. And that's literally what you have, these little muscles that reach here, and you go, and after a while it's like, dude, I'm just fucking tired. So it's amazing. So breathing in, step one is breath work. From here. Step two is chest control and isolation here. And step three is really just not forcing your air out. Let your air go. And I promise you, you'll be the quietest person in the room and the most impactful, because your energy doesn't blast someone from day one. So I hope that is helpful. Like I said, I work with people all the time on this, and it takes a few sessions. We're unwiring the thing that you take for granted, which is I will always have breath, and you will always have breath. You will never run out of breath. This will not, and I mean, the access to air in our normal world, in our normal life, is not something that should be there. And how many people do you see walking the streets? They'll come in here and they are just gasping for air. I'm like, you live in air. You live in air. We're not in a cave. We're not scuba diving. We're not doing anything else. You are literally in your air. So open your lungs and remind yourself, this is literally the most abundant thing that we have on our planet. So much love. And if you have any questions, I'd love to connect with you.